Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market update. And this update's for Tuesday evening, July 30th, 2024, about 6:35 p.m. Central Time. Had to get that one out. I do that by memory, by the way, and sometimes it gets confusing. Well, you have now a massive amount of data coming at you. You had the JOLTS numbers come out today, which is the jobs and the turnover of them, and it still shows a very strong labor market. We have 8.2 million job offerings. So if somebody wants a job and they tell you they can't get it, well, they're being picky because there's plenty of jobs to be had out there. And the market's been saying, well, is that going to weaken? Well, that goes into the column against the Fed cut right now. How's that? I don't think that the Fed's going to surprise the market tomorrow with anything. And let's get to tomorrow because there's so much data. You have the Mortgage Bankers Association data at 6 in the morning. Then you're going to get the Bank of Japan sometime in the morning. I don't know the time it translates to here, where they're going to announce their monetary policy decision. It's widely expected we'll get a very large plan to cut security buying. It's a flip of a coin. Do they raise interest rates? It can go either way. ADP private sector job data comes out at 7:15. The market is anticipating 150,000 new jobs, about where it was last time. The employment cost index is coming out at 7:30. It's expected to see a small rise in it. Chicago PMI data will come out at 8:45. The National Association of Realtors comes out at 9 o'clock. And then at 1, we get the FOMC, the Federal Reserve Monetary Policy Decision. After that, 30 minutes later, we get the press conference with Fed Chair Powell. We also get, it's crazy, we get the EIA petroleum stocks at 9:30. And then on Thursday is where we also get, Thursday you get the Bank of England making their decision. And then we're going to get Friday, the jobs report. So it is chock full of action, a lot of earnings coming out, and some companies doing well, some not. Microsoft got hurt in the aftermarket. We're seeing AMD was a surprise to the upside to the market. In other words, the chip makers are getting a lift tonight, whether it lasts in the morning. That's what remains to be seen. Mandela's did very good today. I saw their report, and they look good. But Procter & Gamble got hurt. There's a bunch of companies that aren't doing real well. So we're waffling right now in those earnings. It's not the old days where all the forward guidance is great. A lot of the companies are downgrading the guidance, which you'd expect right now. And then they might pick that up going into the fourth quarter when guess who arrives? Who arrives? Santa, and we expect then to get better news. Now in the markets, you're back into the 24.54 area in gold. There's a certain amount of betting going on that the Fed is getting very close to beginning the rate cuts, and Israel did attack in Beirut. It went after a Hezbollah leader. The damage I'm seeing on TV looked rather extensive. Supposedly, people were killed. I don't know how many are injured. And the word is, did they get the leader they were going after? We knew that this was going to be what was termed a surgical strike. I don't know if that's going to be termed by Hezbollah a surgical strike, but the world is hoping this thing tames itself down after 12 youngsters were killed. And if this is where it ends, then they'll go back. I know it sounds crazy. They'll go back to their typical lobbing of missiles back and forth at each other. And ideally, they don't go in too far into either country. I don't know. We will see. No word yet on anything coming positive via Hamas and Israel either. So this could go anywhere. You know, if I'm Hamas and I see this happening with Hezbollah, I don't think I'm going to make a deal right now. Maybe I can get them in there to fight the battle with us. When you look at what's going on, the Dow is down tonight. Most of the other indices holding steady. It was a day where you went down in the S&P and the Dow, and you got bids going on into the, let me say this right, you got bids going on into the Russell 2000 and the Dow, and selling in the NASDAQ and in the S&P. That's what I wanted to say. If we take a look at the market, you're not down very much. You're down for the whole week, 0.41%. If it continues to drop via a weekly chart of just closing prices, I would see support 53.61 and a quarter. When we take a look at the chart, you can see what I was trying to spit out, and I got tongue-tied there, that the market was down today about 0.5%. In terms of points, pretty good amount, 30.5 points. And you could see how it's falling there in a stepping ladder fashion. Lower highs, lower lows, you're working yourself down. On a rally, should we get one off of tomorrow's all the data, well, then maybe the market's going to see resistance. I would say 55.84, that area. If the break continues, I look for support to come in now at the Bollinger Band, which it keeps hitting and falling, and the 100-day average. If this turns out to be a super bearish environment, well, could you go to 51? That's going to be hard to do. You're then telling me you're going to drop from here another 8%. I don't see that. So this is probably the logical zone if we get a piece of bear data. In terms of momentum, you're already oversold. That's so important because you have to ask yourself, if you build trading mechanisms, whatever you're going to do, your program, do you buy or sell if the market's overbought? If you buy it there, I don't think so. Do you sell when it's oversold? No. I can do it when they embed or they're traveling in between the two numbers. When I take a look at the NASDAQ, you can see it's been falling out of bed, and we know what's been doing it. Chip stocks have given back a chunk. And there's one school of thought that goes, this is great, because if the earnings come out better, because there's the buying as we're seeing in AMD, and if NVIDIA at month end gets the same, well, when you take some of these stocks down, the multiple has come way down where you want to own them at a 20 multiple in some of these cases. But looking at the market, you can see the battle. I've talked about it to you all week, that the 100-day in the Bollinger Band is probably your battle zone. You do have an embedded reading. You'll know that you're on to something of a correction if the red line can close over 21. But until it does, on good rallies, expect to see the pros selling short this market, not buying it. In the Dow, it's different. You have a market with a higher high, lower low, and it's staying over the 18-day average of closes. So the bias is up, but it's void of a trend, and you're in an uptrend in the Russell. Higher lows, higher highs. It's so interesting to hear analysts going, I know it's a rotation, but understand in theory, quote unquote, a lot of the junk that you're buying, just because you're coming out of good things and you're buying some of these other companies that you think you're at the beginning of something. I don't know that that's right, okay? Rotations do take place in markets. They're famous, and they can last a while. At this point, you're in a bull trend until you close back underneath the 18-day average of 2203.40. When I look at the notes now, I was looking for the market to get to the Bollinger Band at most, and that's where you're at, and you've run into a brick wall going into the report. You did that pretty much yesterday in the 5-year. Let the report come out, and we'll judge it from there. In the dollar, flip a coin. Is there another leg to the upside? What would scare me is getting through the lows of Monday. If Monday's lows are taken out, then you open up the door to challenge the 200-day and the lower Bollinger Band. Right now, everything is friendly as a chartist, but you know going into this report, the fundamentals can change on you on a dime. But action bullish there, bearish action in the euro, hasn't quite attacked the Bollinger Band, easily could. Momentum down, but oversold at this point. First resistance level, 108.57.5, the 100-day average, then 2 layers up here. So going into the report, the marketplace, not me, the market is bullish the dollar, bearish the euro. In the British pound, getting ready for whatever the Bank of England's going to do, the bears have taken control of the market, driving it down, but it is oversold. If it continues to drop, very possibly 127.82, resistance back at the 12900 zone. In Bitcoin, you're running into resistance right here at the 100-day average and the Bollinger Band, and that is carried right on through. The market had for a moment there trying to embed. It's very overbought. I can make a better case for the market to try to come down here than rally, but because it's over the 18-day average, I automatically have a bullish bias. Close under it and I change my bias. In a well, actually, I think I went to one too many. In Brent, there you go. You have a higher high, lower low. Now, OPEC is meeting this week, and the word is that they want to keep their production cuts as they are in place, with the discussion that they're going to put more oil onto the market potentially in October. I'll be honest, I don't know that they can do that. When I look at prices, they have sold off pretty hard in like WTI, which sells at a discount to Brent. So 83.47 to 74. Well, that means you come back here and you've gone from 87 to 78. It's about a $4 difference right now. Okay, if you put more oil on, do you think that's bullish or bearish if you had to make a guess? It's bearish. There are ideas that the market can absorb it. Now, the reason they're talking October is the idea. I think their timing is smart. Their idea is the Fed will cut rates. Europe will be able to cut rates again. They got their fingers crossed that their big client China can do something to pull out of the malaise that it has. I have no faith in China at this point. I think that President Xi is misleading the country. And I say that because I'm watching the economy and how he's running it and the way that he's doing, and I can't imagine the people are happy. But what do I know? I'm not Chinese and I'm not in China. Higher high, lower low. I look at the market under the 20 level. Gasoline, by the way, you have to admit the Biden administration, people say if gasoline prices are higher, in terms of the futures markets, that is not true. In terms of the wholesale prices in the summer, well, you know, they goose you every time that they can. And we all see it at the gas pumps. I know I do. Having been in this market all my life, I know what the real world's doing, but it takes time, they say, to drift through. It never does it all drift through. Be careful of nat gas. You lost the bearish embedded ideas. So this market now can come back maybe to the 18-day average. It has to regroup. It is not bullish or bearish anymore. It's a drifting market, as I want to call it. Now, I'm going to have a lot to say in the morning about whatever the government comes up with. It won't actually be. It'll be just the morning part of it with all the reports you just saw. And then I'm going to be going with, for sure, what did the Fed do? How did it look? I'll give my analysis at night. If you haven't seen my research, you can get it. Number one, if you've tried a free trial, this is a great time to come back. Go to iraepstein.com under research. My reports look that way. There'll be graphics. There'll be writing in them. I do a little bit of everything. You'll get specific entry, exit, profit objectives, ideas, looking at daily and weekly charts, along with access to my video where I cover why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that, why. When I say why I'm recommending to you that you do this. That is what I mean by the word I, because I'm talking to you as I'm doing those videos. So you get that, you get my study on window envelopes and how to put in your numbers. You get our free QT mobile, so you can look at all this, including the videos and the writing, right on your screen and your phone, and of course, access to my special reports. IraEpstein.com research. You can move your cursor to the top here. There'll be an icon. And if you haven't tried it, you're welcome to give it a free try by going to IraEpstein.com and then free offers when you're on the page. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great day. I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. Take care.